What if you've been lied to about almost everything your entire life?
According to this survey, more doctors smoke Camels.
What if the mainstream media was all reading from the same script? Literally, the exact same script.
What if you discovered that President Obama passed a bill which made it legal for the mainstream media to knowingly propagandize American citizens?
Propaganda, in other words, a false narrative for whatever specific purpose, is now much, much easier to perpetrate on the people.
What if the same propaganda techniques used in Nazi Germany were still being used today in the USA?
What if, as a result of constant propaganda, liars were idolized and truth-tellers were demonized, slandered, and punished?
What if there was a coordinated conspiracy to brainwash the masses into believing only the official stories
while mocking the, quote, conspiracy theorists?
JFK, John F. Kennedy, he talked about this monolithic conspiracy around the world. That essentially the conspiracy was coordinated between every facet of not just government, but also, the medical industry and academia and the media and entertainment.
What if award-winning filmmakers were smeared and ridiculed for discussing these conspiracies?
What if you learned that almost 70 years ago, the U.S. Senate determined that there was an active conspiracy in the USA to suppress natural cancer treatments?
My investigation to date should convince this committee that a conspiracy does exist. This is testimony before Congress by a chief investigator for the Interstate Commerce Commission.
What if the truth about how to treat cancer and the truth about the risks of vaccines, what if these topics were being actively censored?
What if the U.S. government knowingly performed medical experiments on its own citizens without their knowledge or consent?
Our so-called science and medical leaders have, for generations, been carrying out genocidal medical experiments on the American people.
What if the COVID vaccine is a giant global genocidal medical experiment, and rather than stopping the transmission of coronavirus, the vaccine was actually causing death, heart attacks, cardiovascular disease, sudden collapses, and strokes in superfit athletes all over the world?
What if the entire COVID pandemic was about control and not a virus?
What if public health officials had another agenda?
The practices of the AMA, the practices of our so-called public health officials are actually intended to kill Americans and destroy our country, our liberty, and our health.
It's likely that you've never been told this information by your trusted evening news anchor.
Because, whether knowingly or unknowingly, they're part of the propaganda machine that creates the official stories that everyone must believe.
They're given a script and they read it.
On the plane crash, KTVU has just learned the names of the 4 pilots who were on board the flight. They are Captain Sum Ting Wong, Wee Tu Lo, Ho Lee Fook, and Bang Ding Ao.
Journalism is dead. We are being programmed.
Program. Eyes, ears, program the people.
We're constantly being told what to think, and any information that contradicts the official story is censored.
Those that tell the stories rule the world, and that's the reason why they want to censor us.
But the blatant censorship has awakened the sleeping giant, and masses are waking up. We are at a tipping point. It's time to join forces and unite and fight for the free future of our children.
If we don't stand up for our kids' rights today, they won't be strong enough adults to stand up for their rights or our rights in the future.
It's time to unite to fight back the forces of evil and censorship and say no to forced medical interventions, which violate the Nuremberg Code. And it's time to fight for bodily autonomy.
The day we lose autonomy and authority over our own bodies is the day humanity dies.
This is a direct violation of the Nuremberg Code.
If we do not stand up for health, freedom, and liberty now, then we may lose it forever.
But every time we give any kind of power to someone outside of us to perform some kind of an act on our body that could damage it, it's a very deadly game that we're playing. What a lot of people don't understand is these liberties never come back.
So obviously it's time to draw the line in the sand, because if we blow this opportunity, if we miss it, we may never get it back again.
It's time to stop obeying tyrannical mandates. It's time for non-compliance.
We need to stop being scared and stop doing what we're told.
We are one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. We are not one nation under government, with liberty and justice for those who comply.
We need to not comply, and we need to stand up for our rights, because we own the government does not own us.
You cannot comply your way out of tyranny. Now is the time to stand up.
Eric Arthur Blair, more widely known as George Orwell, said, "In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act."
We are at war right now, but most people do not even know it. It's an information war. It's a war for your mind and a war for personal freedom of choice.
If you want to know how to restrict freedom in a people, the easiest way to do so is restrict the flow of information. When you remove the knowledge of options, the options no longer exist in the minds of the people, therefore they don't know they're even being denied the freedom to choose.
If you do not have dominion over those choices in your own body, you do not live in a free country.
This is our 1776. It's time to expose the lies and reveal the truth.
Coming in May, a groundbreaking 8-episode documentary miniseries, Propaganda Exposed: The Truth About Health Freedom and Big Pharma.